You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. Business owners know the frustration of dealing with outdated systems, broken processes, and disengaged employees. On today's show, we are learning how to apply principles from the new book, Proactive Problem Solving. Joining us now is the author of that book and founder of Eureka Ranch and Brew Distillery, Mr. Doug Hall. Doug has spent, I should say, decades helping companies like Nike, Disney, and Amex. Those are some pretty big names. He's also the force behind Brew Distillery, as I mentioned, his startup. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Doug.
Well, it's great to be with you.
Yeah, so let's jump right in here. Give us a brief overview of your background before we talk about these incredible projects.
Well, I'm a chemical engineer by education, but I spent 10 years in the marketing department at Procter & Gamble, where I shipped 9 products in 12 months with a small team, not because I was brilliant, because I was a 2-point-something in college, but because my dad had worked with Dr. W. Edwards Deming, and so I was very focused on applying systems thinking to innovation.
Okay.
And that's literally become my life. As Deming said, 94% of the problem's the system, 6% is the worker.
Yeah.
And so now today, my focus is on employee engagement.
Okay.
Because that's the big problem we have post-COVID is people are kind of checked out quite a bit.
Yeah, no question about it. In fact, they can literally be out of the office and they're working from home. We've got so many companies out there that have got a remote workforce, which is something that companies are trying to get their hands around, right? I mean, that creates a whole new set of challenges.
Oh, it absolutely does. And what's remarkable about it is what really got me onto this topic and kind of moved from products to people, innovation to ignite people, is we did some research and we found that the average manager wastes 3.5 hours a day dealing with employee mistakes or bad systems. And the bulk of this is the systems. And it's like 3.5 hours a day.
Jeez.
This is crazy.
Right, it's half the workday.
So we got to change this. This has got to become important to us because beating the workers isn't going to change it.
Right.
We've got to take a new approach.
Yeah, there's no question about it. So talk to us about the new book. What motivated you to write the book, and then what do you want the takeaways to be from the reader?
Well, I was motivated because, as I said, the facts are just crazy about the wasted time.
Yeah.
And we had this distillery that during COVID was doubling in volume every few months. And so it was chaos. And we had to have employee engagement. And so the book lays out a simple process for how to identify the problems, how to motivate workers, which I'll come back to get engaged, which is not a small challenge.
No,
and then
not.
How do you fail fast, fail cheap? How do you, implement with low risk?
Yeah, there's no question about it. The employee engagement is something we've been trying to get our hands around for quite some time now, right? I mean, it's been a problem. I don't care what size of the company it is. It could be a startup. It could be could be IBM. They've got, this is a real issue for sure. You said
I've spent quite a bit of time on psychology and to get them started, because that's the key. You got to get them started. Once they get started, you get wins, they'll do it. So I know this is irreverent, and I don't mean to insult anybody, but when we get employees together, because we've got the Proactive Problem Solving book and a Proactive Problem Solving one-day training, real simple and easy for small to mid to large-sized businesses. We have scholarship programs. And what we focus the employees on is to stop the stupid. We say, do you have anything stupid that goes on in your work? Whether tools, and
that's a wide open.
Somebody, and these are little things.
Right.
It's like one lady says, yeah, my back hurts because she had to lift this equipment up and she was short and she says, my back hurts. I don't want my back to hurt. And it's like, her back shouldn't be hurting.
Right.
We need to focus on those things. And when you give employees rewards in their workspace, that then gets them engaged such that you can now start them to work on bigger projects with the team and for the company.
That's right.
You got to give them a benefit.
That's right. No question about it. You say that way the way people work together isn't working, and that the majority of employees are not engaged. There's no question about that. What do you say to those new companies out there that are startups, and they're still trying to take their brand to the marketplace? And this is something that they haven't even really thought that much about, the level of engagement among their employees. What advice do you have for them, or what caution do you have?
Well, they've got a big advantage if they focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I created the distillery from scratch. I hired people, and if you weren't into systems thinking and engagement, you weren't going to work with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that was a lot easier. It's a lot easier than changing people.
Yeah.
Okay. But the key is from the start, when you're small, everybody kind of hustles and you mess stuff up and you just work late and get it fixed.
Sure.
You got to not do that. You've got to turn around and start to say, let's think about this as a system. How can we make this reliable, reproducible? In the beginning, if you get a systems mindset in, that we're going to have standard operating procedures, even if they're just loosely outlined, but we're going to get reproducible processes. This is going to free you up as a leader to start to work on the important stuff and not keep fighting fires. Firefighting is an example of bad systems.
Right. Right.
And sadly, too many people make their career by being firefighters. We need to get rid of firefighters because the systems need to be smarter.
That's right. And the company's not moving ahead. If you've got leaders that are constantly putting fires out, the company's not going anywhere, right? I mean, you just cannot get tied up in all of the minutia, and you've got to have a team that's creative and moving forward, right?
You're absolutely right. I started the distillery with a guy named Joe Gergash, who had started up restaurants. And in a restaurant, if you don't have systems at 7:00 on Friday night, you're dead.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know anything but systems.
Yeah.
And he really taught me a lot about when you're working with everyday folks, people putting bottles on the line for the bourbon distillery, or, if you give them systems, they win. And he says, you got to set them up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Set them up by success by giving them the right training, the right tools and that, and then getting them involved in proactive problem solving. Get them seeing things. And when they start to become proactive and see something, it's a miracle for your work. You are going to so love your company so much more when you have proactive problem solvers doing the work.
Yeah, for sure. Talk to me about generations, because I would imagine that this can go along generational lines where more employees of a certain generation might be more prone to be more engaged than others. I mean, we've got Generation Z right now that can't get their face out of a phone. I'm talking now from my own personal experience with my college students at home and what have you. But they can't get their face out of their phone. They've grown up with playing not outside with other kids, but inside, I guess, with other kids on video games and such. But do you see where you're managing these people by generation? Is it different?
Yeah. The problem with generations, sadly, appears to be everywhere post-COVID.
Yeah.
And part of my generation, the baby boomers, we're checking out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's different reasons.
That's right.
With the younger people, so it's different reasons, but they're only about a third are engaged.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like 70% of your money's being flushed because this is your biggest expense and you don't have them engaged.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
With the younger people, when I was at P&G many, many years ago, 40-something years ago, I would be told to do something. I'd work till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, working on stuff. I didn't know why I was doing it, what it was, and I did it because that's what we did.
Right.
Today's generations want to know why. And in fact, the military has brought this in because they've got the same issues with the young people.
Yeah.
Called commander's intent. And in proactive problem solving, part of the problem definition is we outline how the leaders can outline the what and why of the problem.
Right.
And when you give these young people the what and why, they become engaged.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give them the what and why, they're the worst puke heads on earth.
So before you can motivate them, they got to know why are we doing this? What instead of, right, to your point, and we're in the same generation where you're told to do something, you put your nose to the grindstone, you get it done. And it was funny, you mentioned you work till 7, 8 o'clock. As you know, new generations now are like, whoa, what's this whole 7, 8 o'clock thing? Okay, I'm working till 4:30 or 5 and I'm out of here because I need that work-life balance. But getting back to the cause here, they've got to know, why are we doing this? What is it going to solve? And let's talk about that, right?
Yeah, so if you can give them the definition and you can give them the scope, and this is what the military does, and we've been applying it, and it's a miracle, the difference that you see. Because people don't go to work, I don't care what you are, you don't go to work and say, I want to do nothing today.
Right.
They want to do something meaningful.
Yeah.
But if it's never been explained why this matters, what it is and why, then they're going to give up. But
Yep.
when they know what they're doing, so like I'm working with an incredible company called Kybeck, and they make cleaning equipment.
Okay.
And their leadership is defined, we're here to help those people that do the work.
Yeah.
And their whole focus when they're designing a product is to help the people who have to clean the bathrooms. So they created a no-touch bathroom cleaning machine that allows them to clean the bathrooms without having to get on their hands and knees in the bathroom. And so when you explain to the workers, we want to help those people who have to do the work to clean those bathrooms so they don't stink.
Right.
Then it's a motivational. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cause. It's something that I want to help with. That's where proactive problem solving starts, with the what and why of the problem.
Right, right. You talk about the fact that fear plays a role and prevents effective problem solving. Talk to us about that.
Oh, it's bad, and it's gotten worse. I mean, I've been tracking data for 40 years, and it's never been worse right now. People's fear of getting fired, looking stupid, all kinds of things to do it. And so part of what we do is, in the third part of proactive problem solving, about how do you implement, how do you do it at low risk, is we give them a mindset of, instead of trying to get it perfect, run plan, do, study, act, or fail fast, fail cheap cycles. What's a little thing we can do to learn more?
Right.
And start to build their confidence as they try a little experiment and then try another little experiment. And this reduces the fear, because they're taking bite-sized pieces. If it's all or nothing, there's no chance.
Right.
They'll never even start.
Right.
But by getting them started and learning during that, you literally create, with the distillery, I had this guy, Kanan, he turned around and took a very expensive bottling line that the fancy engineers from Europe couldn't fix, and in a month he fixed it. But he fixed it with every day running 10 or 20 plan, do, study, act cycles. It was just step by step. I mean, and I said to him, I said, you know, you play football when you're young? He says, yeah. I said, did the coach try to make you go to the game and start right away? No, you took it step by step, and you learned the fundamentals.
That's right.
And this is a mindset in our going slower helps us go faster.
Yeah, very good point.
It gives us capabilities so that when you're on vacation as the owner, they're still thinking. Think about that one.
That's right. My next question was going to be, how can organizations balance the need for systemic problem solving with the pressure of quick fixes?
Well, and that's the key. You can't do it. Management can't be making all these decisions. We've got to do it bottom up.
Yeah.
We've got to get engagement of these people, so the little things that are, and this is what I outline in proactive problem solving. Everybody has this. It's not the inmates running the asylum. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going to let them go loose. But we give them, in their sphere of influence, they have things within certain boundaries that we outline. We give them an area to do it. And as they get successful there, we keep expanding the boundaries from it. So it's a very methodical. This is not rocket science, but it's what we're missing.
Yeah.
It's what we're missing right now that creates a whole bunch of frustrations for us as business owners.
That's right. That's right. I don't care what size business you're in, proactive problem solving and problem solving in general, and to master that is something that's vitally important, right? I mean, this is something, to your point, that's been around for ages, and until we, as individuals and business owners, focus on this one area, to think about, you know, 4 hours, almost 4 hours a day is focused on something like this, where you've got systems that are falling apart, and it can't be tolerated. The company just cannot grow if you've got your leadership and your people focused on that.
But what you're looking is, and in the middle section of the book, I talk about tools for creating. In the Eureka Ranch, we're famous for it. That we've got a method called stimulus response. We use stimulus and diversity, and it literally creates 500% more ideas than regular brainstorming.
Wow.
And we give people a step-by-step method for how they're doing it, because it's not a matter of just, okay, create an answer.
Yeah.
Again, you need to have a methodical system for doing it. And we have to teach this to our employees and make it part of our culture.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Doug Hall, author and founder of Eureka Ranch and Brew Distillery, and of course, his latest book, Proactive Problem Solving. Get it now. In fact, we're going to make it very easy for you to do just that. Right below the video that you're watching, right here on our homepage, there is a link to take you over and get that book. I highly recommend it. So, Doug, thank you so much for spending so much time with us here at the station. We very much appreciate it. Love to have you back to maybe take some other excerpts and teachings out of the book.
I would love to. And this is one of these things where in my life, as we moved from being products to people,
Mm-hmm.
I am more fired up than I've ever been. And that's kind of crazy. This is a cause. This is
great.
a cause.
That's great.
It's
Well,
important.
one thing we need among business owners is to have someone like you fired up about business, because there's, as you know, if you watch the news for any longer than 5 minutes, you can kind of get, you want to crawl back into bed these days, right? But so we need that shot of enthusiasm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Doug.
Thanks
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.